Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching our channel for a long time, you might not even know that we have a Spotify. Well, here it is in the Shoop Sports Broadcast channel. Capture all of the Chuck and Shoop episodes in your car or wherever you are on the go, or you can listen to some of my other feature episodes, which include Shaul, Scroche, and new guest Goody Boy. So stay in tune. And now back to the video that you came to watch. Hey, welcome to another episode of Chuck and Shoop. It is Mr. Shoopy in the building today, and with me I have a very special guest. He happens to be a very special guest all the time here, and that is
Chuck, your boy Chuck.
Boom. Our boy Chuck, your boy Shoop, and our boys in the NFL. Back out for another crazy week of action. We're here to break down which NFL coaches are in the most trouble.
Yes.
Also in this episode, I will deliver a hot take on the state of baseball right now. But first, we got a special award. We're going to do dubs and L's. And Chuck, I want you to hit us with the dub of the week.
Dub of the week? Dub of the week has to go with MLB baseball playoffs. I don't know if you've been watching, but it's been absolutely freaking electric. And even though the Yankees or the Mets aren't in, I haven't really been that invested, but we went over it last episode, who was making what. And last Monday's game was absolutely freaking electric. Phillies go up 4-0 at the Braves, and it looks like Philly's going to take a 2-0 lead. Then all of a sudden, Braves wake up, win it in the end, and they win it in absolute electric fashion. Last play of the game, Castellanos hits a ball to center field. There's one out. Bryce Harper's on first. He reads it wrong. Fucking Harris makes an insane play and then doubles up the play to end the fucking game. Place goes absolutely crazy right now. And now we are in game 3 as we're talking right now, and the Phillies are taking a absolute tremendous lead, 7-1 in the top of the 6th. So looks like it's upset city in MLB playoffs because also the Diamondbacks are up 2-0. So this could be it for both of these top tier teams.
I know. And you know what? I was going to say my MLB rant for later, but I feel like this is a perfect segue because what you are talking about is actually a very interesting point. You bring up the last 2 years. So we have this year so far the Orioles, first place, 100 wins, out first round. Dodgers are down 2-0. They had 100 wins. Braves had 100 wins. They're best record in the league, and they're in danger now of falling behind in their series. And the Astros, they're up 2-1 versus the Twins, but it's still up in the air. But it makes you wonder, last year with the Phillies and Padres making it from the NL, it seems like all of a sudden these baseball teams that have to wait a week to play while their competitor gets to play and keep themselves fresh and get momentum by beating a good playoff team. I think it's a lot different from something like the NFL where there's a strategy that goes into each week. So the extra preparation is very helpful, and plus injuries and all that. I don't think it's helpful in baseball. And
no, it's not.
We've had the top 4 make the playoffs, and then it was the top 5. But ever since it expanded to the top 6, we're seeing much more underdogs make it. And for one, I love it. I love seeing underdogs make it. But it's almost like I start to question how valid it is or how much of an advantage it really is to be playing consecutive games. Yeah. I know it doesn't happen to every team, but you wonder if it just decreases their chances a little bit.
I think it definitely hinders the play for top teams because you're out for whatever 3 days. Baseball is all about momentum and staying hot, and if you're not staying hot, then you could end up like these teams right now. I want to ask you, do you think that the ALDS should be a 7-game series?
It's a tough call because you want to save your 7-game series before it gets freezing cold out.
Mhm.
Want to try to
Yeah.
get those games in. Also,
Yeah.
like when it's still kind of light outside.
Exactly.
But what I think would be the better solution is to make that 7-game series, but make the regular season like 154 games.
Yeah, I agree.
It
It's got to be shortened.
it's I understand you need a lot of games to decide who's the best, but it's it's way too many games. By the time September comes around, I'm already disinterested. So it would
Yeah,
probably do wonders for their product.
I totally agree. And we could talk about this all day, but it's football season.
Oh, 100%. And I got our L in football, but before we get to that,
Hmm.
um, I have a bonus W to ESPN Plus
Mm.
because I was messing around on the couch today and I was kind of bored because the Phillies started blowing out the Braves. I was like, I kind of want to watch something else.
Yes.
So I went on the ESPN Plus and I was watching Longwood versus Winthrop men's soccer. And I didn't think I was going to miss anything crazy, but we had a guy on Longwood attempt a bicycle kick from over midfield. He didn't make it,
No,
but it was still incredible to watch. So
it sounds electric.
shout out ESPNW for the most random sports you can find.
I do agree. They do have some things where you're like, I could watch women's volleyball right now. That's pretty interesting. Put some coin on women's volleyball.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie, they showed a top play from a girl who made a diving play and her teammate spiked it, and it was pretty incredible. But
Electric.
I don't think I'll be watching Patriot League volleyball
No,
anymore.
no,
So
no, that's one time thing.
we're gonna move on from that. And so in the L of the week, so
Mm.
the theme of today's episode is going to be NFL head coaches. And I want to put one particular head coach on fire that we roasted in the offseason for basically what he said about Nathaniel Hackett,
Oh
where he
yeah.
was like, that team was an embarrassment last year. And look, talk your shit, but you're going to talk your shit. If you don't back it up, you are in big, big trouble. And come to realize the Broncos play the Jets week 5. So now you're also adding bulletin board material for a matchup that previously didn't mean anything that they probably had the advantage for. Well, as it goes to show, the Broncos start the season off in embarrassment, but they're facing one of the biggest embarrassments in the league right now, the New York Jets. And Zach Wilson didn't play that well at all,
Mm-mm.
and you still lose. And you get trolled by Jets Twitter, which is amazing, by the way. You should go
Yeah.
and check out that tweet. I'll link it in the description. But wow, nobody deserves this way more than you. The
Hmm.
guy that had the bounty gate, and I know he wasn't directly responsible for it, but damn it, he is responsible. And then reports are that this guy is just a complete asshole as well. So not even a great guy to begin with.
Yeah.
But then you got signed this mega deal, just like Russell Wilson. He got ostracized because of his mega deal and all that stuff last season, but he's turned it around quietly this year with his play, and it's not
He's
his
playing
fault.
good. Yeah.
He's putting best numbers in like 3 years so far.
Hmm.
But this coaching is just horrendous, and the staff
Yeah.
he assembled is horrendous, and the Broncos are, they might not be the worst team in the NFL right now, but they are the biggest embarrassment in the NFL, and that, in my book, makes you the worst.
I couldn't agree more. And what did we learn here today? That karma is a fucking bitch. So what goes around definitely comes around.
You're goddamn right. All right, so let's get right into this theme. So what we're going to do here is we're going to point out some NFL coaches that either haven't gotten off to a good start or haven't met their expectations yet. And I want you to rank their C from ice cold, meaning they're a lock to stay, they're Bill Belichick type, or hot as hell, like Urban Meyer in a random frat bar. So let's go down the list of coaches, and we'll go back and forth giving each other coaches. So let's see. I want to start off with Kevin O'Connell. The
Mm.
Vikings are 1-4. They are pretty much already out of contention in the NFC North. We all know Kevin O'Connell from the Sean McVay coaching tree. He's got a brilliant mind, but it's just not leading to wins. And the team didn't play all that great last year; it just lucked into wins. So, what kind of seat is O'Connell on with this very poor start?
I think I want to say he's definitely walking on ice cubes. He's not touching like a preheated furnace yet. I think he's still touching ice cubes. He's ice water. I think he's ice water, if that makes sense.
And not in
Because
his vein.
I'm looking at the teams that he's played, like the Buccaneers game 1, that was ugly losing to them at home. But I mean, I'll give him a pass. That's week 1. Thursday night against the Eagles, that's definitely tough. They only lost by 6, but they covered in garbage time. That loss to the Chargers, that has to be tough at home. They take care of the Panthers, and then the Chiefs, they had a chance. So I'm not saying that he's not going to be on the hot seat. They have some games down the road, especially this weekend, that they could definitely win, and they can turn their season around. So I'm going to say he's ice water.
You know what? I kind of agree with that right now. I just don't think there's many better options on the market, and the Jefferson injury is only going to make it longer for him to stay. So, solid take. Hit me with your coach.
Okay, so I'm looking at a guy like right off the bat. Give me your opinion on Ron Rivera.
Ron Rivera has been a leader for maybe 10 years or so, and he has quietly gotten a lot of more over expected results from this Commanders team with the amount that their ownership didn't give a crap in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he has deserved his tenure there. However, it's good things don't last forever.
No.
Rivera he's been a staple of coaching, but now it's just kind of like, well, there's pieces in play. The defense should be better than it was. I mean, it was good 2 years ago. It could be a personnel problem, but part of the equation of changing things around is getting fresh faces in there. Just think that with new ownership, the Commanders will be best served after the season starting anew.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But what would you say? He's like a furnace? I'd say he's sitting on a furnace, or he's on.
I wouldn't say he's that hot. I'd say he's he's kind of like those cookies that when you microwave a cookie for 30 seconds and you first feel it. It's like that. It's like that shit's warm, but
and then it cools down. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you bite into
I like that. Okay, I like that. He's warm cookie. Okay.
Yes.
Soft in the middle. It's fine.
Was warm ass cookie.
Let's
Speaking of starting anew, let's talk about Bill Belichick. Chuck, I want to hear from you first.
Dude, Bill Belichick has third-degree burns. He is on fire. I think he is definitely on the hot seat. I think he's number 1 on the hot seat. He not only runs the organization from within and picks his guys and his coaches and his players. Robert Kraft is buying into the whole thing, and it's not working. And I think they're on pace to be maybe the 3rd or 2nd worst team in the league. And I'm going to talk about them later because I'm definitely betting against them this weekend. But they just don't look good offensively. They got no-name players on offense. Defense looks good. They lost their best player on defense, but offensively they can't hold their own. And it's that. I mean, Bill O'Brien, I don't think he's going to get fired, but I think Bill Belichick, something has to change. And from what I've heard is that Patriots are looking at Gerard Mayo for the next guy up for some insider information. That's what I think is going to happen.
It's Bill Belichick gets creative with his schemes. Maybe he needs to go back to the drawing board of those because clearly what he's doing right now is not working.
No,
it's even like the press conferences were funny before because it's like he didn't give a shit because they're winning, but he's still doing that. But the problem is that they're losing and they're bad, and he's just not giving us answers. He's
Yeah,
just
same old.
trotting out. He brings all of his best friends in to coach with him. That's the only reason why Matt Patricia could have possibly been the offensive coordinator last year. There's no other way. But this Patriots organization, I feel like, will not fire him, no matter what. And should
I
he
agree
be on
with
the
that.
hot seat? He should be the hottest seat in the league. I agree. But
Yeah,
how hot do I think his seat is? It's, if you're like changing the thermostat, he's basically a thermostat because, like if he wants to like end his tenure, he's going to end it.
yeah,
So he's going to make it hot or he's going to make it cold.
and he does have all the right. Yeah, he does
It's
have all
not
the right.
it's not right, but it's okay. The Patriots weren't going to make it anyway.
No, yeah, we could agree with that.
Okay.
Now,
So your turn.
next coach. I don't know. I mean, it's his first year, but Frank Reich of the Panthers, is he doing enough to put his team in positions to win games? And I know they're not the best team in the league, but could we see another 0-17 situation here or 0-16 type situation?
I'm gonna keep it real with you here. Frank Reich got one giant stick right up there.
Yeah.
Frank Reich wanted CJ Stroud in the draft. Ownership wanted Bryce Young. Who got the final say? Not
Owner.
Coach Frank Reich. So, I mean, is it the totally best excuse for his team sucking? I mean, like, no, not at all. And then you think about this trade that they made to go get Bryce Young. They trade away their best receiver in the process. And then reports come out, oh my God, we need a number one receiver. Where could we have found one? It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, like, thank
Adam
God for Adam
Thielen.
Thielen going off. Like, I'm super happy to see it. It's super random. I thought he was cooked. But, like, the fact that he's catching all these, like, 8, 10-yard passes tells me that Bryce Young he's just not ready yet. And the offensive line hasn't played well enough. So, one, I think it would be wrong for them to fire Reich. I think his seat is still pretty warm, but they have to acknowledge it's a rookie quarterback, and they're basically starting like, a new franchise turn. They should
Yeah.
give him at least one more year after this. I mean, did you really think the Panthers had expectations this year?
Definitely not. I just thought the division was so trash that they would try to do something to be winning. But I just hope they don't go 0-17.
That would be ridiculous, but it doesn't strike me like this will be a team. I think their defense will keep them in a few games and get them wins.
Yeah, they do have a solid defense.
All right. And then we're going to leave off with one final coach. And this one's an interesting one. Brandon Staley. What is his seat right now? Like, do you think his seat is still flaming from last season? Or if the Chargers, continue to play well, then what do you think?
I think it all has to do with the definitely how the Chargers finish the season. If they lose another playoff game like they did last year, then yeah, by all means, he's got to go. I hate how he goes for it under his own 30-yard line, try to like win games. He's almost lost a game because of that. I mean, if I was an organization, that would drive me crazy. Like I would just have a meeting with him, like, bro, you got to stop going for it on your own 30. Like, just punt the ball, trust your defense. You have two all fucking pro pass rushers on your team, and you're like, fuck it, let's go for it on 4th and 1 on our own 29. Like, I just think that's a wrong way to like put your players in a shitty position, and then like also tell your defense that like, hey, we can just get first downs with Herbert and company. But I think if I were to describe him on the hot seat, I think he's lukewarm water. He's lukewarm water, and then he might turn into warm milk if they don't reach the playoffs. And then warm milk might turn into a fucking fireplace, because that division in itself, like they could definitely make the playoffs. The Raiders don't look good. The Broncos look like fucking dog poop. So if he doesn't make the playoffs, I think he's gone.
Chuck, Absolutely. And I think even if he makes the playoffs and gets bounced, he's gone as well.
Okay,
He's
yeah, I
gotta win a
agree.
he's gotta win a playoff game to at
Has
least
to.
be considered. I think his C is the most flaming out of all the head coaches right now, not named like a Josh McDaniels or maybe even Kevin Stefanski.
Hmm.
But Staley, after the disastrous, last couple of seasons where, failing to reach the playoffs twice, then it just makes you think now they're 2-2, and he's just super aggressive. He's aggressive for absolutely no reason. Like there's like analytics, and there's just like tossing analytics and just putting it all on black every play. That's what
Right,
Brandon Staley's.
literally.
So he's absolutely flaming hot with the roster that they have, with how well Herbert is playing, and the fact that they re-signed Herbert, but his Super Bowl window is going to be pretty short pretty soon with all the money they gave him. It's got to be this year. They haven't played the Chiefs yet. I think I'm pretty sure.
No, they haven't.
That's They need to win, not one game. They need to win the first time that they play the Chiefs. That'll probably be the most important game of their franchise history.
I think it's
They
the
play in
most
the Super
important game. Yeah,
Bowl, so maybe in the last 20 years, but like they need to win that game. They need to like stick an FU to Mahomes, or Mahomes will just continue to dominate for the next 5 years.
exactly. And yeah, I like that point. If you can't beat Mahomes once, like in the next whatever this season, then yeah, also you're gonna turn into a fireplace.
Yes, he will be cooking pretty soon. So we're gonna get into some college football next, but
Mm.
let's get into our NFL pick'em real quick. We
Yeah,
got our 3 games on the slate, and we're gonna pick a lock and an upset. All right. So first, I want you to break down Bengals and Seahawks. It's actually the Seahawks at Cincinnati, I believe.
yes, yep.
But
1 o'clock game.
yes, Seahawks coming off a bye week. Bengals coming off a rejuvenated victory versus versus the Cardinals, not versus themselves. So do we continue? Do you expect Burrow's success to continue, or does Geno come rolling out of the bye?
So I'm looking at the injury report. I was looking at it. I really liked the Seahawks. I really love their defense. They showed out against the Giants, I think, and defensively just fucking got after him. But the Giants, we both know that they don't have a good O line. The Bengals took care of business against the Arizona Cardinals. They let up 20 points. It almost looked like a shootout, but then they got a hold of him. Jamar Chase went off like he should. They're getting the ball to him more in space like they should. Remember when he was like, "I'm always open. I'm always fucking open." Like
Yeah,
they finally answered the call. So I really like them at home. I love the Bengals at home. Um, this is what we saw last year. They started like 1-3, or they started 2-4, and now I think is where they turn it around. So I'm expecting the Bengals to win by a field goal at home. It's definitely going to be a gritty game, but I'm expecting check down merchant Joe Burrow to absolutely dice up this defense, but at the same time establish a run game, and that O line finally gets to show out against a superior opponent. So it's going to be a dogfight, but I definitely have the Bengals.
count me in for Bengals as well. I love this turn of momentum that they had this past week. Yes, it's against a not so great team, but the Cardinals have put up fights against teams, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to completely dismiss them. But the Bengals, what's most important is that they got Jamar Chase back involved. 15 receptions, 184 yards, 3 touchdowns. Talk about breakout for your season. His 52.2 points was the most by any fantasy player in the past, this entire season, and at
Yeah,
least in the past year. That's a way to get your confidence back. Rolling in versus Seahawks, and Geno, we assume he's healthy. He says he's healthy, but it was an ugly shot. He could be playing through pain. Burrow is more likely recovering from that pain. I think the momentum favors the Bengals greatly, but I think it's close. I think they win by 3.
I like it. Yeah.
All
Shout
right.
out, shout out McMurphy, whatever his name is. I hate that guy.
McMurphy.
Whatever.
Yeah.
McPherson. McPoopy.
McMillan or the
The
Giants
kicker.
guy. Yeah,
Another. But yeah, shout out McMillan. Yeah, shout out McMillan.
shout out McMillan, baby. Let's go McMillan. Pair of 1-4 teams in the NFC North. We talked about one of their head coaches. We didn't mention their other head coaches, also off to a poor start this year. It's Matt Eberflus, but he has his Bears moving in the right direction. A blowout win on Thursday Night Football, a competitive affair versus the Broncos, which they ended up choking away. But Bears are looking better. Seems like everything is going wrong for the Vikings this year. Seems like a fun game. I think the most fun game of the week. So who you got in this one?
See, I think everybody and their mom is going to take the Bears. Just how good Justin Fields looked against the defense that let up like 35 points a game. Like, so let's be real. He played against the Washington Commanders on Thursday. The Commanders defense is not good. And then the week before that, they played the Broncos. And the Broncos have one of the worst defenses I think they are the worst defense in the league. And then you look at the Vikings schedule, they played last was the Chiefs. And then I'm pretty sure the game before that was also tough. Hold on, let me get this real quick. The game before that was against the Panthers. They won. They lost to the Chargers. I said this before. They lost to the Eagles in prime time. I think the Vikings are coming into this game as a must-win. And I think even though they don't have Justin Jefferson, I think that they have more playmakers on defense than the Bears do. And I think they also have more playmakers on offense than the Bears do. And those touchdowns that Justin Fields had, like you talk about it all the time. He's not seeing the field correctly and he's not going through his progressions. And maybe he is getting a little bit better with all these passing touchdowns, but he's played against dookie defenses. So I'm looking for the Vikings secondary to simply show out. I'm looking for Harrison Smith to finally, even though he's old, but to have a somewhat of a really good game. So I'm definitely going to take the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be surgical, and they're going to establish the run early. Look for Alexander Madison to go off. Give me the Vikings.
Points. I'm expecting big points in this one. Two horrendous defenses. Although the Vikings have played a bit better this year, but they're both really bad defenses. I expect a lot of scoreboard play. I don't know. I just feel like this Viking season is coming in a free fall, and the Bears have momentum right now. And I think Justin Fields, not only is he got feeling good about himself, but he's got to have some sort of chip on his shoulder. Like, all these critics that were saying this and that, he's actually became a better pocket passer in these last few weeks. It seemed like he was completely lost for the first few weeks, but got to give credit where credit's due. He's turning it around. I want to ride this momentum. I don't want to touch the Vikings right now. They just seem to be snake bitten. I wouldn't be surprised if they won, but I can't pick them. No way. Bears win.
Pass. The Bears.
All right. Bears. We got the Monday Night Football game. Chargers versus Cowboys. Chargers coming off that bye. Cowboys coming off a bye as well. Well, they were playing, but they weren't really playing. So, who wins this Monday night affair at LA?
I was looking at this game, and it's in LA, but the Chargers really don't have that big of a fan base as the Cowboys do. It's going to be a Cowboys home game. I'm almost positive because they travel insanely well. They're the New York Yankees of the NFL. I don't like what Micah Parsons said after the 49ers game, after they got their ass whooped. They said he was saying how we're still a competitive group, like we just played bad, basically saying like the score isn't what the game really was. But to be all honest, they fucking 49ers surgically dissected that defense, double team Micah, ran at him at the point of attack, just doubling him. They couldn't stop the run, they couldn't stop the pass. I'm really worried about this Cowboys defense because Quandre Diggs Trayvon Diggs literally took over half of the field. A whole third of the field was covered by this guy. He was a turnover machine. Now he's not been in the lineup, and I think they just look discombobulated. And McCarthy's not making. I don't think McCarthy's a factor whatsoever. The coaching staff is not getting the ball to their players on the perimeter. Like their receivers are getting no catches, Gallup or Brandon Cooks. Mind you, CeeDee Lamb's not getting explosive targets either. So I think the Chargers, I think they get Joey Bosa back this week, and I think they just terrorize Dak from the beginning. And I think Herbert, even though he has a fractured finger, I think Herbert just takes control of the game, and they got guys on the outside to just attack the Cowboys' pass defense. So give me Herbert all day. I think he has a masterclass game against this Cowboys defense.
Yeah, I found those Micah Parsons comments a bit troubling. I mean, first of all, Debo's response was hilarious, so credit to Debo. But why are you still focused on them? Like, I understand it was a big game, but why are you focused on them? Game's over, move on next week.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say what you want, but it just gives me that feeling that the Cowboys, they don't come off to me as a team that rebounds strong after an embarrassing defeat like this. I like, when it's like the Rams or the Chiefs, if they, good head coaches, any of these teams, they rebound after poor performances. That's what really separates good coaches from bad coaches. Mike McCarthy is not a good coach.
Mm-mm.
He's he's a good leader, I guess. I mean, he's just coached mediocre teams for so long. So he's had a job for some reason. Is he going to be the one that riles his team up and gets them ready? Like, I don't know. The defense has lost a few pieces. Now they got Van Der Esch out.
Yeah.
Diggs being out was a huge loss for them. They don't really have great help in the secondary. I got the Chargers as well.
Yeah.
I think that this is a game the Chargers should win, even though they're definitely not going to be the home team.
No.
Right. Let's lock some picks in. I got a lock, but I want to hear your lock first.
Okay, so my locks and best bets, they have been. Let me see right here. I am 7-7, so we're at 500, gentlemen. I actually liked a shit ton of games this weekend, so I have 4 picks that I really like. I wrote down 5, but we're gonna go with 4. So first pick Thursday night. If this video comes out, you guys see it. I'm taking the Chiefs minus 10.5 against the Broncos. They're gonna win by 30. Like, Broncos defense is just absolutely atrocious. I could see the Chiefs just dissecting them once again and just winning 42-10. Next pick, I love the 49ers at Browns. 49ers minus 5.5. Browns are still they don't know if Watson's playing or not. If you don't know by now, it's Wednesday. I don't think he's playing against this team because this team is so good. They could just chalk this game up and then go on to the next week. So I think the Browns are looking ahead. Give me the 49ers minus 5.5. My third pick, Lions are fucking hot. They are like hot cross buns right now being taken out of the oven. They're still going to be tasty, and they take care of business, just like we saw last week. Good teams take care of teams that are poop, and they make them look like poop again. So I like what the Lions did last week, even though they didn't have Sun God, Amon-Ra. So I'm looking for the Lions to beat the Bucks at the Bucks. So I got Lions minus 3. One more pick that I have that I think this is the lock of the week. Raiders. Patriots come to town against the Raiders. The Patriots, I think, they haven't done shit on the road. So, except for they beat the Jets 10-3 or whatever, but that was literally like down the street. So they got to go to the West Coast. Give me the Raiders minus 3. I think Josh McDaniels is going to have a day beating his alma mater. So Raiders all the way. Those are my 4 picks.
Chuck, I want to hit us with the lock, but I'm actually going to hit the audience with my upset, and I am going to go against the grain, and I am picking the Patriots as my upset of the week.
Okay, all right. What do you think? What are you thinking?
So, Bill Belichick is in possibly the worst spot of his career, where he's had 2 back-to-back blowout losses, and everyone's calling for his head. Everyone's questioning him. I don't think all of what Bill Belichick has done throughout his career goes away in 2 games. You look back earlier, weeks 2 and 3, when they held the Jets to basically no offense, and they also held the Dolphins to their lowest point total of the season, well under their average. The Patriots' defense is still pretty solid. And think about who they're playing. Jimmy Garoppolo. Who knows Jimmy Garoppolo inside and out? The guy that drafted him. I think if they have advantage over any team, it's the Raiders. And I'll be honest, I can't look at the Raiders as a good team. You look at their wins this year. They beat the Broncos by like a point because, well, the Broncos stink, and the fact that Will Lutz, their kicker, missed 2 very easy kicks, including an extra point. So that was one win. And then you look at this past Monday night where Jordan Love was just absolutely atrocious, literally gave the ball to the Raiders in the red zone for free during a first half drive. So I think the Raiders, I don't think they're the worst team in the league, but I don't think their wins are all that impressive. And I have the Patriots in a bounce back here. And plus, don't forget, revenge over the Chandler Jones game last year.
True. Shout out Chandler Jones, conspiracy
Yes.
theorist.
Very much so. And I won't forget to give my lock.
True. Okay.
I won't forget to give my lock. And that actually, so I was doing my notes yesterday, and I made this pick for Giants Bills over 42.5. Well, looking at the line now, it's now 44.5. So it seems that a lot of people are agreeing with me. But I'm still gonna lock it in because Andrew Thomas, I think now, if not now, like soon he'll be returning. Saquon Barkley, it should be his week to return. It follows the time frame, and all indications are that Daniel Jones is fine. But even if any of that isn't true, because we don't know for certain yet, if Tyrod Taylor comes in and he's the backup, I don't think he's that significant of a downgrade from Daniel Jones, at least right now. And he's still mobile enough to move behind an offensive line. He'll probably make more conservative decisions.
Yeah.
Well, on the other side of things, the Bills' defense is unraveling. They lost Tre'Davious White the week before, but now their heart and soul of their defense is gone. I mean, they didn't look right in their loss last week.
No.
And I'm not saying the Bills are going to lose. What I'm saying, though, is it's not going to be like this shutout, low-scoring effort. I think the Giants will put up some points of their own, but the Bills will probably have a field day. I think it ends up something like 38-21, where there's a lot of garbage time points.
Covers.
So that's what I got.
That checks out. I like that. I will tail that with you. I wasn't too keen on the over as well. I was kind of looking at the under because I thought the Giants wouldn't score, but Bills do have a lot of injuries on defense.
Yes, you gotta account for that. All right, and now let's go into some college football. So
we got a lot of good games, man.
Yes, lots of good games. First, let's talk about Oregon versus Washington. So this is a huge matchup in regard to college football playoff implications. As we know, it's still a 4-team playoff, and Pac-12 is super strong this year. Over half their teams are in the top 25. So who has the upper hand in this matchup, and who you got?
Well, I think both quarterbacks are Heisman candidates, right? I'm trying to think. If I look at the schedule right now, which might take me a minute, but has Washington really played anybody that good? And has Oregon really played anybody that good? These are first 2 tests for each team.
You're correct. Washington definitely has not played anyone good, but they have been winning their games mostly handily for the most part.
And then, so that Washington's last game was against Arizona, so they're coming off a bye, and I'm pretty sure Oregon's also coming off a bye. So if I would have to pick a team right now, I think Oregon's defense is far more superior, and Oregon's played Texas Tech, which is also like not a good team, but like definitely a decent competition. I think I'm gonna have to go with Oregon here, just because of their defense and how I'm looking at their schedule. They've absolutely shut teams down that can put up points, especially like Colorado. They only let up 6 points against Colorado, even though Colorado was missing some players. But I think I'm gonna have to go Oregon on the road here.
Um, yeah, I like Oregon. I like their swagger. I picked
Yeah,
up on in that Colorado game. They basically just handled business. And it seemed like a team that just handles business right now.
right.
Um, and we don't really know too much about Washington. Good transfer quarterback from Indiana who's been playing well, but I just think the talent Oregon's better. I got them in a high scoring affair, but maybe not crazy high scoring.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, go Ducks. Go
Yeah.
Ducks.
Chuck, out of all top 25 teams, who is most on upset alert this week?
You know exactly who I'm gonna say. I'm fucking pissed off from this past weekend. Notre Dame lost to Louisville, but I'm gonna let that game slide. Notre Dame has came from a fucking gauntlet of games that they've been playing, like good ass teams. USC, so Notre Dame is playing USC this weekend. USC just played an Arizona team that's not really that good, and they went to double overtime against them and barely won that game against Arizona. And other games like the Colorado game, they won by 7. Their defense lackluster, just giving up points at the end of the game. That was a close one too. Um, if Colorado got one more possession, I think Notre Dame takes care of business here against USC. I think they fucking run the ball down their throat. They're surgical. I think the Notre Dame's going to get a couple of receivers back too. They were missing a lot of receivers that were hurt. Um, I'm looking for USC's defense to just get torched by Notre Dame. Um, Maybe Caleb Williams goes superstar mode, but I really love Notre Dame at home here. That would be a great win for them. And even though they would have 2 losses, if they won that game, they'd be 6-2. And honestly, I think they would still look good for a playoff chance if some of those other teams, like in the Big Ten, would lose a couple, or the SEC would lose a couple games. But
Mm.
I love Notre Dame to upset USC.
No, I was actually thinking of picking USC because as my upset pick because Notre Dame is actually favored by
Mm-hmm.
3 points. But in terms of ranking, yes, it 21 versus 10, definitely an upset. And USC still has playoff hopes that they're close to, but with that loss to Arizona last week, it's looking a little fuzzier. They probably need to win games more handily.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't a lot would have to happen for Notre Dame to make it. A lot of
A lot.
two lost champs. I mean, yeah, their tough schedule keeps them in it for sure, but it's they have to be perfect from here on out, no
Exactly.
doubt. My upset alert this week, I got Duke at home, number 17 Duke on upset alert versus North Carolina State. The last time we saw Duke, they got not only did they get destroyed by Notre Dame, but Riley Leonard's ankle got destroyed at the very last offensive play of Duke's game, and his
Yeah.
status is uncertain. And the Duke is still a small favorite in this game, but you got to think that this team has just been, you know, mentally let down after that performance. After getting not only embarrassed, well, not embarrassed, but like beaten down by that
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame team,
Tough
and then
battle.
have your leader not on the field. I have Duke's season spiraling until they get him back. So I got them an upset alert.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
So
Maybe so.
lock that in, and I want to hear some more locks from you.
So obviously Notre Dame, that's gonna be my lock. Locks right now, I'm at 9-10. We're right there on the water. I think this is the week that we turn it around. Got Notre Dame -2.5, like I said before. One I really like Ohio State coming in to Purdue. Purdue, not a good football team. Defense is horrendous. They let up like 38 points a game. Um, or like 30 points a game. I really like Ohio State to go on the road here and take care of business. And remember last time that they were at Purdue, Purdue spanked them. So I'm pretty sure Ryan Day has his guys coached up, and they're like, listen, he's like, listen, we need to fucking spank these guys because we have people still doubting us, and we got guys like Lou Holtz still in my ear, just talking shit, and I can't take it. So we need to take care of business against Purdue. So give me Ohio State -19. I think they blow them out by like 28.
Mm. The tough part about that is if you know anything about Ohio State's history versus road underdogs in recent years with Iowa and then also Purdue
Yeah,
on that fateful 2020 night. That was the worst night of my college life. Um, the Purdue's always scary, but I do think that trends are meant to be bucked, and I think Ohio State's got to have a wake up call after another disappointing showing in that first half last week.
stressful. Yeah,
Like,
and you were at that game.
yes, I was at that game indeed. Lots of weird Ohio weather, but that's typical of them. So not surprised there. My lock this week is going to be Pittsburgh plus 7.5 at home versus Louisville. Now I think Louisville wins, but anytime you get a team that has a monumental victory the following week, and then they got to go on the road and play your 0-3 ACC rival, you got to be thinking you're hot shit. What does it matter? We don't need to get up for this game. Pittsburgh sees 11 ranked team on the other side, and they're like, well, we're not going to win anything this season. Let's just go hard at them. And what I think will happen in this game is Pittsburgh takes down to the very end, and Louisville wins on like a last second touchdown or field goal.
Hmm.
But both of those would cover this 7.5 spread. And I'm
Yes.
telling you, Chuck, I just see this storyline right now. Pittsburgh comes in, plays their hearts out, and gets heartbroken in the end. Louisville keeps their unbeaten season alive, but the plus 7.5 betters end up going home happy.
The sharp bet. I do have one more. We gotta touch base on Miami last week against Georgia Tech. All you had to do is knee the ball, and then they just the guy runs it. And this is the second time that Crystal Ball has done this. So I don't know what's going on in that locker room this week, but this is a must-win game at home against UNC. So I'm not going to take Miami. I might take them +3, but what I am going to take, I think Drake May is going off. I think both these defenses are kind of inconsistent. So I'm definitely going to go UNC Miami, the over at 56. I'm expecting a shootout. I think Miami does get the win in the end. I like the quarterback for Miami. I forgot his name, Van Dinkle or something. I totally forgot his name. But the quarterback for Miami, I think he's going to have a bounce back game. The coach can maybe they're going to be crying still about this pass game, but the pass game that they had that they lost, you saw linemen crying on the field. There's no crying. They say there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in football either. So I think these guys bounce back and they put up points. Give me the over.
I like the over, but I need to go off King because I put this moment out of my mind for how ridiculous it was. But let me tell you why Brandon Staley is the reason why football is going downhill.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But there is a point here. Brandon Staley, his over aggressive ass has caused other coaches to be like super aggressive with their play calling.
I like
But
that.
it's now gotten so extreme that we have a coach here who hasn't taken the knee all season. It wasn't just this game; it was the entire season. He doesn't want to knee the ball out. It's not like he's trying to run up the score. He's calling simple run plays, but what does he think that increases their chances of winning by another 0.01%?
Fucking stat guy.
It's illogical. It's got, and the only reason would be either it's some bullshit analytics or he's just completely messing around and playing Madden on us.
I like that. I think he's definitely playing Madden on us.
That's
He's trying to upgrade his players with Madden yards. I don't know what that is either. That is, yeah. I was watching that game. I didn't have anything on it, but I was just watching that game and I was looking at the clock, and then they ran the ball, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And then the ball goes on the ground. And I'm like, of course it happens. Of course.
Yeah, it's like when you're in Madden and your player needs to have a 2,000-yard season.
Yeah,
so you just spend the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter calling timeouts and just trying to get more yards from him. I don't know. I don't really have an explanation, but hopefully he learned his lesson.
He apologized to the media, and I would too. I would apologize to the player. I would buy the players fucking Chick-fil-A or some shit just so they would accept my apology.
Yeah, at least White Castle or something.
Yeah, something good. Just something to keep their minds off that game. Make sure they're ready for UNC this week.
Got to keep the boys happy.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure we keep our viewers happy because we are back with episodes every single week.
Yes, sir.
Be on the lookout next week as we go into our official NBA preseason preview. And if you would like, for this year's Germany game, we will be doing a live stream
Mm.
where
Mhm.
we won't have the game up for you, but we're gonna talk the game better than the Mannings can. So be on the lookout for that. But
Yes.
in the meantime, thank you for watching. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, go get a necklace from Arichi. Link is in the description. And what we gotta say to viewers, Chuck?
Everybody have a great weekend. Tell somebody that you know personally, say that you love them, appreciate them, appreciate the little things. Don't take anything for granted, and treat yourself. Make sure that you always treat yourself when you're feeling down.
Shout out words of wisdom from the best in the game. Thank you, Chuck. And we
Thank
will
you.
be back next week. See ya.
Peace.